Good morning, guys. Wow. It has been a month. It's been a month since I've talked to you guys. I'm sorry. I really am. I'm apologizing because I realize how important it is to be consistent and to show up for your friends. And y'all are my friends. Those of you who I know who are listening, those of you who I don't know who are listening, the fact that we're on this journey together connects us. And that connection, I'm going to ground that connection in friendship. Now, you guys, I'm an English teacher. And in fact, since I'm talking about who I am, this is Miss L. This is the altered image. And I'm going to talk about some unfiltered truth with you. Y'all, I've been doing a lot of different things, venturing into a lot of different spaces, some of which have been intentional and some of which have literally kind of dropped in my lap. All of them are adjustments that I have to make to the way that I move throughout my daily life experiences. Some of those adjustments are easy, and some of them are not. Y'all, I'm not going to talk to you right now about all the things that I'm doing. That's coming up. Again, I'm still working on our book club, and that is on hold, if I'll be honest with you. And the reason why is just because I'm going to briefly mention I have been employed as what they call a UGC model. I know. Chuckle is what I said too. I'm 54 years old. I'm like, what? I'll tell you guys how it happened real quick. I thought that what was going on was that I was applying for an ambassadorship for a particular brand that I enjoyed wearing. And I thought, you know what? Even if I don't get a commission by selling their product and their merchandise, I felt like that I could at least get a super solid discount. And that was enough for me. But in the midst of doing that, you guys, guess what happened? I wasn't filling out for, I was filling out for an ambassadorship, but that particular company also employs what they call UGC content models. And the difference is that models get paid basically for the use of their photos, whereas the ambassadors get paid off of commissions based off of what they're able to sell, depending on what brand that they're representing. Anyways, y'all, that's not here nor there. That's not why I'm talking to you right now. I'm talking about adjustments. Now, you guys, as a teacher, as I mentioned and introduced to you before, I gave you a little title, told you what I do, as if y'all don't already know. The reason why that's important for me to mention to you all is because I am experiencing a space and place in my life where I'm having to adjust. And I'm adjusting specifically my emotions that have been triggered again. And it's not by anyone's fault. Honestly, it's actually I'm a teacher. It happened in the high school, you guys. Let me just say this. I'm a little bit all over the place, but since I'm going to ground some things for you. First, let's talk about the adjustment. My somberness that you hear in my voice is applicable to a situation that happened last week. Now, you guys know I don't really go into details because it's not the details that are important, but it's the feeling that those details inspired within me. Now, as a high school teacher, you have to understand, you guys, there's a level of PTSD that's associated with a profession that's just by nature, because students, especially high school kids, they just have very raw emotions. And those emotions are not only raw, but they are untamed. And they're untamed because they've not had an opportunity to experience how to navigate those emotions, because they walk through their everyday life experiencing something new all the time. Now, that is a lovely phenomenon. However, for some of my teenagers, their new experiences are not necessarily good experiences. They're just new. Because those experiences happen not to be good, some of them, they come away with very not so good consequences of which they tell me about. Now, I will say this is a very big blessing. I don't want to call it a curse, but I am going to call it as a blessing, and a blessing that must be managed very carefully. The blessing is I'm very close with all of my students. It doesn't matter what personality. They could be an athlete. They could be a wealthy, Key West Islander gazillionaire's child. They could be from one of our neighboring islands who don't speak English at all. It doesn't really matter. I communicate with my heart. And the language of the heart, y'all, you got to know, man. That doesn't have to happen verbally. It comes out verbally as an expression, but it starts in their heart. And that's why kids are so special. They've not been torn down by society so that their heart is messed up. You guys are listening to my dog cough while I'm trying to podcast. And I'm about to, excuse him from the room. However, I told you that you guys are going to hear some noises because it is all very unscripted. Anyways, getting back to, that's the sidebar, getting back to the teenagers. This is going somewhere. You know, it always does, but I got to get the narrative out. I got to give you guys, this is what I like to call the rising action in the narrative. The details that I'm describing to you guys are just high school mindsets. And as a teacher, I have become plagued with a bit of PTSD that I am surprised that I have. Some circumstances happened last week and the week prior, you guys, that would really blow your mind, because these circumstances happened under the mindful intention of a 15 and 16-year-old mind. These circumstances could possibly land people in prison for a very long time, if not worse. I'm going to say this to you guys. I'm going through and having to go through relearning how to navigate these feelings of, I'm going to call it post-traumatic stress syndrome, because all of these stresses and the anxieties that I am having to deal with have come prior to the students, but my past trauma has been triggered by my current trauma that I did not even know that I had. So you guys, listen. The point to this one is this. You got to know how to first, here's your how. Identify the trauma when it happens. Because when you're on a healing journey, it never ends, and I need you to know that. Mine doesn't. Yours ain't going to end either. It is a constant, intentional journey of identifying, grounding, understanding, and navigating through your feelings. It never stops. It's like being an alcoholic. A trauma survivor is like being an alcoholic, because you have to apply strategies upon strategies to keep your mindset right, don't you? So with that knowledge, we now know how we need to do it. The how is we got to identify the trauma when it happens. Why do we do it? Well, the why is you must do that, y'all, because if you don't catch it where it starts, it's going to continue to build. And when it continues to build, you're going to be jacked up. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, this leads me to my second point. What do you do, or how do you take care of after these traumatic emotions that you have identified in the moment? Well, y'all better do what I'm doing. Be kind to yourself. I am at home, you guys, and I'm a teacher. I hate being home because first, I love being with my kids, and second, it's just so hard to reel in the reins when you miss a day in school, because that's a free day for them. They're not going to do anything. No matter how much work you post on the Google Classroom, it doesn't matter. It's a free day. So what that means for me is when I go to work tomorrow, I'm going to have all kinds of very excited and, as the kids would say, turned up personalities. Now, what that means also for me is that I have to pour into them as they pour into me. Today, ain't no way I can do that. So what do? I'm more kind to myself right now. I'm thinking about me. I'm thinking about how I can get to a place of healing and healthy and happy feeling so that I can go back to school and pour into my students all the things that they deserve. Love, light, compassion, empathy, kindness, understanding, and acceptance. Right now, I'm focusing on me and giving me all the things that I would ordinarily give to my students if I were at work today. You guys, I'm going to need you to put down the guilt. You know what? I'm going to say that again, and I'm just going to pause because I need to let that marinate. Put down the guilt. Don't feel guilty because you don't feel well. Whether you don't feel well physically or mentally, you don't feel well. You cannot show up anywhere if you're not 100%. And those people that you're in front of, if you can't give them 100% you, then you're not really giving them all the things that they need for you to perform to your best, at your best, doing whatever, your employment requires. Y'all, listen, put the guilt down. Take care of yourself. Take care of your needs. If that means take a day off, man, take that day off, because I am. If that means, all the things I said in my previous podcast, whatever you guys got to do to get your mind right, do that. And don't you dare feel guilty for doing that. All right, I'm going to end this podcast now because, y'all, for real, I want to say thank you for lending me your ear, because this is a therapy situation for me right now. And I'm hoping that in these raw feelings that I can also kind of help somebody else who may be going through something similar or have been through something similar and who are maybe grappling with the same daggone damn feelings. I do feel guilt because I care a little bit about my students. I don't like not to be there for them. However, y'all better develop the mindset that I do. The reason I'm able to love my kids the way I do so thoroughly is because I love myself that way. And whomp, there it is. Man, I ain't got no rhyme, but I got something to stick for you. Yeah, that's not a rhyme, but that's a moment of truth. Y'all, the reason I'm able to love my kids as thoroughly as I do is because I love me I love me the same way first, because I give myself all them things that I mentioned to you earlier. Yeah, I got a little bit of energy when I talk about loving myself. Y'all, love yourself. Put down the guilt. Take care of your mental health. I don't care if that means. Take a day off from work. Take a day off from work. And I'm out. Y'all are with Miss L. It is now 13 minutes, 15 seconds. Whoop-oo! Now, you guys, I'm going to have to say it. Please subscribe. You got to subscribe. The YouTube channel, let me tell you what's going to happen with the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is all about altered image, but I'm going to also document some daily life experiences that I'm encountering on some of these other journeys so that I can keep y'all plugged in and have y'all, travel this venture with me. So you got to subscribe, though, y'all, because if you don't subscribe, you're going to miss it. Subscribe to The Altered Image with Miss L on YouTube. And y'all know you can get all of my listening platforms. I'm going to keep the podcast going, but the podcast and YouTube is going to be a little bit different. But you know what? It's been a month. Y'all got to know I'm not going to let you go a whole month without talking to you. So there's that. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. It is terrific Tuesday. Have an amazing remainder of your week. And we're going to talk soon. I said we were leaving. Now I'm rambling. Now I'm leaving. 14 minutes, 23 seconds. Woo-hoo! I love you. You're with Altered Image with Miss L. The unfiltered truth. Bye, guys.